The 13th floor. I've worked at Blackwood Tower for 6 years, and for 6 years, I've ignored the glitch. Every night at 11 p.m., as I rode the elevator down to the lobby, the car would shudder. The digital display would flicker, skipping the sequence from 14 to 12, and briefly settle on a static choked 13. The doors never opened. It just sat there for 3 heartbeats in a silence so heavy it made my ears pop, then continued its descent. One night, the bitterness of another passed-over promotion and a life spent under fluorescent lights finally boiled over. I didn't want to go home to my empty apartment. I wanted to know where my time had gone. I brought a crowbar. When the elevator hit that phantom pause, I didn't wait. I jammed the steel bar into the rubber seam of the doors and heaved. The mechanism screamed, a sound like grinding bone, but the doors yielded. I stepped out, expecting a dark concrete shell or a storage room. Instead, I stepped into my own office. The layout was identical, but the colors were bled dry. The walls were a sickly parchment gray, and a layer of fine, silver dust, thick as fallen snow, coated every desk and monitor. The air tasted like ozone and old, forgotten paper. I walked toward my cubicle, my footsteps muffled by the dust. Then, I heard it, the frantic, rhythmic click-clack of dozens of keyboards. I rounded the corner and my heart stopped. Sitting at the desks were versions of me. There was the me from last Tuesday, wearing the same coffee-stained shirt. Further down was the me from 3 years ago, looking thinner and more hopeful. There were hundreds of us, all translucent and hollow-eyed, staring at monitors that displayed spreadsheets from years past. I realized then that this floor wasn't a room, it was an archive. Every hour I'd sacrificed to this building hadn't just passed, it had been harvested. The tower had been taking snapshots of my life force, storing these discarded versions of my soul in a perpetual, gray loop. A hand, cold as a winter grave and dry as ash, clamped onto my shoulder. I spun around to face myself, the version of me from my first day at this job. His eyes were gone, replaced by swirling silver dust. "You're the current model," he whispered, his voice a dry rasp. "The stack is full, Elias. We've been waiting for someone solid to take our place in the archive so one of us can finally go home." The shadowy figures stood up. They moved with a jerky, frame-by-frame motion, their translucent limbs stretching toward me. I bolted. I dived back into the elevator just as the doors hissed shut, my crowbar clattering onto the 13th floor carpet. The car dropped. When the doors opened at the lobby, I sprinted for the glass exit, desperate for the cold rain. But as I reached for the handle, my hand passed straight through the metal like smoke. I stumbled, looking down at my arms. I was turning a dull, transparent gray. I looked into the security mirror. My reflection wasn't mine anymore. Standing in the lobby was the me from 3 years ago. He looked vibrant, solid, and terrifyingly alive. He picked up my fallen car keys, adjusted his tie with a smirk, and walked out into the night to live the life I no longer possessed. Behind me, the elevator dinged. The display flickered to 13. It was time for me to go back up and start my shift.